Well, Jeanie, congratulations with the book, Laker Girl. It was
Thank
just
you.
released. Can you take me through this project, how it all started, and how it ultimately boiled down to this 278-page book here?
So many people ask me, what is a typical day like for you working for the Lakers? And I can't ever describe it because there are no typical days in Laker world. So Steve Springer, who's the co-author, and I talked about it, and he had an idea for a book, and he pretty much convinced me that it would be something that people would be interested in because, of course, you never really know. You write something, does anybody care? But I'm very proud of the finished product.
Right. What was interesting to start off was just the structure of it. It was organized in a way where it was a monthly diary, but then there were chapters in between just with your biography. What do you think that does from just a reader's standpoint, just telling your story?
What I wanted people to understand was, the ups and downs of day-to-day life. I mean, obviously I'm not giving away the ending when I say the Lakers won a championship last year, but there were times during the season where people were panicked, and Andrew Bynum's injury, Pau Gasol started the year injured, like those kind of things that when I go back and read it, it puts me right back into that frame of mind, like, okay, what's going to happen to this team, and where are we headed, and what else is going on in the league. So I wanted people to kind of feel like what the day-to-day rhythm was.
Right.
But by interspersing the chapters of like my life and how I got to where I am today, it helps people get a perspective of why I see things the way I see them. And that was important to me too, because the way I was brought up is going to influence how I see things and how I interpret things.
Right. Well, what was interesting at the beginning, you mentioned that about your passion and wanting to get into the family business regardless of any field, whether it's ultimately the Lakers or real estate. What was it that appealed to you in that sense of just being involved with a family business?
My dad, we would play games all the time, Monopoly, Sorry, all the games that kids play when they're growing up with their family, and that was it was so enjoyable, all my siblings and my parents, and we just would have so much fun. I just thought that's the way I want my life to always be, just, doing projects together and working together. So it just in my head, I was always going to be part of the family business.
Right. Can you take me through that progression? I mean, you talked about in the book, studying for it at USC and then getting involved, right out of college with tennis and all that, and then getting to this point.
My dad, when I was growing up, the family business was real estate, so I always thought I would go into real estate. And then in the late 70s, my father put together a very complicated deal where he ended up with the Lakers, the LA Kings, and the Forum. And that, I was graduating from high school, and it was the happiest day of my life because, as my dad put it, name a concert and now you can sit in the front row, or maybe you can even sit on the stage. It's just like what 17-year-old kid wouldn't love that idea? But as the year went on, my dad realized he's got an arena, and when you own and operate an arena, you want it booked 365 nights a year.
Right.
And when you have a hockey team and a basketball team, with the playoffs and other things, maybe that's 150, 180 events. There's still a lot of time to fill. So he decided that he wanted to try other events, and tennis was one of them. And World Team Tennis had been a sport that he was involved in the early 70s. It came back in a kind of a smaller version of it, and he named me the general manager when I was 19. And that would give us 7 home dates during the summertime when indoor arenas need more product. And I said, great, Dad, now I can quit school because I was at a student at USC. I said, now I can quit school because I have a job. I don't need to go to school anymore. And he said, no, if you can't have the job if you quit school. School's the most important thing. So I did both, and it was the perfect way to learn on the job, as well as use that experience as I'm accepting my education at USC.
Seemed like, at least from what I drew from it, there seemed to be an overriding theme of your wanting to prove that you're not just a beneficiary of your father, and really showing that you're serious and passionate about your work and wanting to put in the hours. And then secondly, just always recognizing the humble origins that he went through in terms of just making ends meet. Is that a fair assessment?
Yeah, I mean, I want people to know that I realize that I probably wouldn't have the job, or at least the opportunity to be here, if it wasn't the fact that my dad owned the team. And when people ask and say they want to follow in my footsteps, I say, tell your dad to buy a team and give you a job. That's how I got my job. But, I want the fans to know that I will never take it for granted. And I know that I'm in a really, really amazing situation, and I will never forsake the opportunity that I was given, because to me the Lakers they're like a public trust, and it's about the fans. They decide everything. We just kind of manage things, and the fans like to win, and so we do what is best to keep the team winning. And my dad, coming from very humble beginnings, his goal in life was to have enough money to afford season tickets. And so for him to be the owner, he truly brings a fan's perspective, because he loves this team just like the fans do. And so he will make moves to please him, which is pleasing the fans.
Right.